Hello, everyone. Welcome to a quick explanation of standards-based grading and rubrics that we're going to use here at KSBA for the 2021-2022 school year. So, when we say standards-based grading, what we first want to keep in mind is the academic standards itself. These standards are what are governed to us from bodies such as the state of Colorado and the Department of Education that kind of tell us what students should be learning in each grade level year. In today's example, we're going to be going over 8th grade content standard GA1, where students are asked to verify experimentally the properties of rotations, reflections, and translations. So, the way that we do this and the way that we roll this out to students is through a rubric. So, in this rubric, it kind of dictates and details the expectations for students, the skills that they would need to show, and the thoughts that they're going to need to have in order to achieve a standards mastery of each of these different types of transformations. So as we go through a couple of examples today, please keep in mind this is an ongoing process and one that we are going to continue to practice and roll out. So let's start up here with A4. A4 is what a student needs to do in order to show mastery of that subject. So in this case, for HG1, it's to describe the effects of translation, rotations, reflections on two-dimensional figures with and without coordinates. It's being able to perform and explain the steps to transform a preimage to an image, and it's to follow directions by labeling preimage and image points correctly. So let's go ahead and look at an example of a 4-point response. So in this here example, we have a student demonstrating that they can rotate a figure 90 degrees around a origin. So in this case, they have rotated their image. They have drawn and labeled each of the vertices, and they have correctly labeled each of these coordinate points. So this would receive a 4 because it meets all of the standards set out by the rubric. A 3 is demonstrating things that are leading up to that point. So in this case, that's things like drawing polygons in the coordinate plane, given coordinates and their vertices, using coordinates to find the length sides of joining points with the same first coordinate or the same second coordinate point, and demonstrating proficiency with geometry vocabulary. So an example of a 3-point question might be something like this. They didn't exactly rotate it in the correct space, but it does also still show a rotation. All of the points are labeled, and their coordinate points match up fairly well with their original ones up here. So all of those would go to show they at least have some partial demonstration and receive at least an approaching level of this standard. Now let's work our way down to a 2, where with help, the student demonstrates partial understanding of 3 and 4. So in this case, a 2-point response. First, we want to look at, hey, yes, they were able to draw a polygon. That is part of number 3, a 3-point response. But notice that they do not have their coordinate points labeled. So they failed to label, but they were able to show, hey, these coordinate points at least match up. Even if it's not a direct rotation, they're still demonstrating some understanding that this shape needs to move from one point to the next in order to fully answer this prompt right here. So again, this is worth 2 points. It is not labeled, but it shows that with a little bit of help, they're able to fully understand what should be expected, such as this 4-point question. And lastly, 1 point with help, students demonstrate no understanding. Typically, that's going to look like a blank paper or just some scribbles drawn around. Again, this is a sample from one of the students here, but just to show you what 1-point questions are going to be about, as if they show nothing, it's really tough to grade them. So encourage your students to make sure that they are doing their best work and they are at least attempting each problem as best as they can. I hope this helps out. If you have any more questions, please let us know. Otherwise, have a fantastic rest of your day.